What's up, Math 8? This is Miss Mullins again with another episode. Today we're going to be talking about lesson 1.6, which is absolute value expressions. Very similar to order of operations, except now we're going to add in that absolute value factor. So we're going to figure out, well, what is absolute value first, and then be able to evaluate using that order. The one thing we need to make sure we write down, so we want to pause the video after you finish hearing what I've got to say. Absolute value is a number's distance from 0. So absolute value will look a lot of the times like this. So the absolute value of -9 is equal to 9, or the absolute value of 10 is equal to 10. The only tricky thing is if you have a negative on the outside. Let's say the negative absolute value of 18, it's still going to be what is the absolute value of 18, but you've got to keep that negative on the outside. Let's pause the video now and write down that example and the definition. And when you're ready to move on, go ahead and click play. All right, so what we're going to do is look at a few examples and then calculate them. This first example we have is 5 absolute value of 2 minus 8. So first, we're going to treat absolute value kind of like parentheses. So we want to remember our order of operations. 2 minus 8 is -6. So I still have now the 5 and then absolute value of -6. Absolute value of -6 is equal to 6, so I'm just doing 5 times 6, which is now equal to 30. Over here on the right, why don't you try it? Pause the video, and when you're done, click play to check your work. All right, first thing we're going to do is 6 plus 14. That's going to give us, so we've got 6 plus 14, which is equal to 20, and then we're just doing 20 times -4. That is going to bring us to -80. Okay? Going on to our next two examples. Again, take time now to maybe pause the video, try these on your own, and when you're ready to check, click play. Remembering our order of operations, we do want to make sure we have that in mind. So when we're starting this first one, I'm going to work with just my absolute value at the top. 3 minus 15 is -12, but the absolute value of that is equal to 12. Once I'm done, I'm dividing that by 4, and my answer I get is 3. On the top of this fraction, I have -3 parentheses 4 plus 6. Realizing I have to do parentheses first though, 4 plus 6 is 10, so really -3 times 10 is -30. And then on the bottom, I have the absolute value of 5 minus 7. 5 minus 7 is -2, but finding the absolute value of that is a +2. So I'm doing -30 divided by 2, which is equal to -15. Here is our next two examples for section 3 of our notes. Let's pause now, try the two examples, and when you're ready to go on, click play. Again, remembering order of operations, those absolute values are falling within the PEMDAS or the parentheses. So I'm going to start with here, this section, the absolute value of 2 times -8. That is the absolute value of -16, which is equal to 16. Now I'm going to bring down everything else like I see it and continue along my way. All of this is subtraction, so I'm just going to do this in order from left to right. -4 minus 3 is -7, and -7 minus 16 is -23. Over here on the right side, I have the absolute value of 2 cubed. This just means 2 times itself 3 times. So 2 times 2 times 2 is 8, and then 8 divided by -4 is -2. Our final examples for absolute value are here in section 4. Let's take time now to pause the video. These are our most challenging questions, meaning they're going to take the most time, but when you're ready to check it, go ahead and click play. All right, starting over here with my absolute value. 16 divided by 4 is 4, and the absolute value of that is just 4. And then here on the left side, I have 2 plus 4, which is 6, and 6 squared means 6 times 6, which is 36. So with this first one, I know it looked crazy to begin with, but really it's just 36 minus 4, which is equal to 32. It's so important that you take each one of these and think about their individual order of operations, because once you break it down into a smaller piece, it then becomes more manageable. Over here on the right, starting within the order of operations, absolute value is considered like parentheses. 7 plus 5 is first, that is 12. And then I'm going to do -3 halves times that 12 over 1. This should be a 2. When I multiply this, I'm going to get -36 over 2, which is a -18. But realize that all of this is within absolute value. So the absolute value of negative 18 is regular positive 18, and then dividing that by 3 is equal to 6. My final example, again starting within that absolute value wall, 8 minus 2 is 6. And it looks like I need to do negative 4 times 6, which is negative 24. But within the absolute value wall, it is normal, regular 24. And now I'm going to multiply that by 1/2. That's the same thing as doing 1/2 times 24 over 1, or what is half of 24. 1 times 24 is 24. 2 times 1 is 2. And I'm equaling that to 12. That is going to conclude our notes for today on lesson 1.6. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.